So you think that uh you don't believe in destiny, but that would be like a good reason to believe in destiny.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened. I was about to be working at Waffle House, with 3 degrees,
Yeah, yeah.
out of work, like coming up on a year, uh, and then I got this awesome job offer.
Yeah. I know. There's been a few things that happened to me though that made me really question destiny too, because I am also a skeptic. Skeptic. One of those being, it was me. All right, it was me and two of my friends when we were teenagers. These are really very specific. Or your earphones good on both sides?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, my ears busted. That's true. I forgot.
Yeah.
That's why it sounds weird to me. And we were like 17 and drinking, and there was a loaded revolver in my desk drawer, and one of my friends pulled it out. He was playing with it, and he was loading it. Yeah, he was loading it, and I was like, and I was playing Nintendo on my TV, and I was like, and I noticed what he was doing. I was like, no, stop that, don't do that. And I took it from him. I'm like, man, stop messing around with that. And put it back in the drawer. And then my other friend came later on and took the same pistol out, and he was like posing in the mirror with it, and he pulling it towards the mirror, and he pulled the trigger, click, and then he didn't know he didn't think there was anything in it or anything, just like got it out of the drawer, and then he pointed in my face and he said, "Hey, D." And I said, "Yeah." I turned around and looked, and it was right in my face, and it did click right in my face. And I was like, oh, well. I went back to playing Nintendo. And he opened the gun, and there was two chambers empty out of a 6-chamber barrel.
Oh.
So basically, my first friend loaded 4 bullets before I stopped him.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled the trigger one time in the mirror, and then one time right in my face. And that was the 2 empty chambers out of the 6-barrel chamber.
I could see that happening, because if you got 4 loaded, it'll make it bottom heavy. So being a revolver, it would rotate the chambers, but it's still lucky that you didn't get shot, right?
Yeah.
It would rotate those empty ones to the top. Like just the weight of it would make it rotate.
Oh yeah, yeah, but it doesn't really work like that. A revolver, it just goes.
No,
what's
but
next?
Once it's open, like it was open when he was loading it.
Oh yeah, right.
So like when he closed it, it was that facing the bottom. So the empty ones were up.
Me and your podcast is one of the best ones ever, because it's one of my favorite ones because of providing reason,
Yeah.
Another thing though, I mean, there's a few things, but there's a bunch of things that are non-specific, but this one seems pretty specific as like a what you call it, an angel, like a protective angel. I'm trying to think of the word.
Guardian angel.
Guardian angel, right. So I did some work in Shreveport for a weekend. It was really, really hot. I mean, it was like hot. Shreveport is like weirdly hotter than South Louisiana. I don't understand it. A couple of times I visited there, I'm like, golly, like it's so hot. I don't get it. You would think the more north, it would at least be a couple of cooler degrees and less humidity. But man, it's so hot over there. Anyway, I was coming. I worked in Shreveport for for a weekend. I mean, for a couple of days, and it was super hot, like really hot and humid. Anyway, I was heading back down on the interstate, and I was in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, trees all around, and just trees, no cars, no exits, just trees for like seemingly a couple 100 miles. Long story short, I heard a boom, and my water pump blew out. It caused me to go to the side of the road. But what I realized after the fact was that I fell asleep. And then the water pump busted and caused me to wake up. And then I was like, oh shit. And I pulled over the side of the road. But I didn't realize that I fell asleep until after the explosion sound. It was like really loud. Like boom, like an explosion sound. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But if I had been sleeping for even 1, 2, like 3, 4, 5 seconds, I could have died.
Yeah.
So my water pump exploded right after I fell asleep, literally seconds before I would have wrecked into the trees. I don't know, I don't know. I can't, maybe it's a coincidence. I believe more in coincidences than I don't. I don't believe all that mumbo jumbo bullshit.
Yeah. Because, I mean, look how many bad things happen.
Yeah, I know. Look how many children get raped and murdered.
Kidnapped and
yeah. Like I saw like on America's Most Wanted, there was a 5-year-old girl who was raped and murdered and stuffed in a plastic sack, and they found her 5 weeks after she had been in an abandoned building rotting, and they, through analysis figured out who she was. And she was the murder victim of one of the America's Top 10 Most Wanted. And I thought, man, like, would God will allow that to happen? Because, free will, but where's free will in a child who gets raped and murdered,
Yeah.
And all the atrocities. But
yeah,
living in a first world country in the United States, I tend to think that, whenever slightly bad things happen to me and things happen to work out, that like,
maybe we could think about why that is. Like, when things don't work out, you just find another way, right? Like, say,
I'm awesome at making lemons and lemonade.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, say I hadn't gotten that job. Like, I would have been probably working at Waffle House for a while. Then I would have got a job. Then I would have been thinking the same thing. I'd be like, oh, well, finally I got this awesome job. And, yeah.
Yeah.
There's been other times, like, things happen, like, you ever cross the road as a kid and almost get hit?
Yeah.
That's happened to me before. Probably, like, within a few feet.
Yeah.
Of getting hit.
Slade almost got run over. We were crossing the street in downtown Road Bridge, and there was a car here, and he just went, and it happened to be like at least a 9-year-old old lady. She was at least 90, who was too old to go fast, and hit him, and he flew back and rolled on the ground, but he was okay. And she got out the car and she was concerned. Was like, oh no, we saw how old she was. We were like, oh, don't worry about it. Oh no, don't worry about it. We didn't want her to have a heart attack, you know.
Yeah.
Like worrying about it.
Yeah.
So
But
that happened to you too, something like that.
yeah, I mean, I never got hit, but crossing the road, yeah, I almost got hit a few times.
Yeah,
But that's just being stupid, right? And there's someone there's someone driving, right? They're not trying to hit you.
yeah,
Usually they're not trying to hit you.
yeah, right.
So like say you avoid an accident, well, that's the normal situation, you're gonna avoid it, right?
Yeah,
So it's not destiny. It's just that's how it works.
I know that's like a tough thing to figure out. Or there's destiny and there's coincidence, chance.
Yeah.
I don't know. But there's something that happened to me before too that seemed to be destiny, but had no significance. Which is, I went to Houston one weekend and I saw one of my friends that I knew. I didn't really know him. It wasn't like a super awesome good friend like you. He was like just some dude that I kind of knew from high school, and I ran into him in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
With all the millions and millions of people, and happened to be in the same night, in the same time period, in the same location, out of all those millions of people between here and there.
Where were you?
Houston.
Yeah, but where in Houston?
Oh, I don't remember. And then the next weekend, I went to New Orleans, and ran into the same person.
Wow.
Yeah. Out of all the millions of people in New Orleans, out of all the time, out of all the places and all the time periods and everything, like bam, Houston, ran into him, like ran right into him. Wow, what the fuck? Then the next weekend, New Orleans, same thing. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? What is this statistical probability of that happening? It's got to be very small.
Well, did he live in New Orleans?
No.
Where did he live?
In Lafayette. He was just coincidentally visiting both places. And I didn't really keep in contact with him to tell him none of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, out of all the millions of people, time, places, like it's got to be statistically very small. So it's like, man.
There's been times I run into people
crazy.
Unexpectedly, like where you start thinking, are they following you? You know? Yeah. I think that before I think, it's a divine thing or something, you know.
I know.
I think like
I know what you mean, but it's like, man.
What's up?
Yeah, one of my friends, Della.
Y'all mid podcast right now?
No, there's no,
just
we're just playing around.
Yeah.
What's going on? Daniel.
Jesse?
No video, just audio. I got a third mic for you.
You got a hat for me?
No, look for it. He lost his hat.
Man.
It's a very special hat.
This right here.
Oh,
You did steal it, you son of a bitch.
oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.